Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Marvel Select Red Hulk. I don't normally review Marvel Selects. I've looked at a few. I think I did Juggernaut and the Sabretooth that had the horrible paint, and I guess they reissued it to a better paint job. Anyway, a lot of people asked me to review the Marvel Select Hulk that came out recently. I personally hate the head sculpt on that thing, and I couldn't find one anyway, so I couldn't review it. However, I was able to get my hands on one of these guys, which is mostly the same figure, and he's available at Big Bad Toy Store. So if you are a fan of Red Hulk, you can use that link in the description below and get yourself one. But this figure is kind of interesting because in a lot of ways it blows away the Marvel Legends, but in some ways it doesn't, surprisingly. So let's go ahead and get it off the stand and take a closer look. This guy, Darwin is always getting in the way. This guy stands, we'll do metric first, about 25 centimeters, not counting the top of his hair spikes. And that's going to make him just about 9.5 inches. So if that was 1/12 scale, he'd be about 9.5 feet tall, which I think is justifiable enough for Hulk. It might be a little bit big. It's a lot bigger than the Marvel Legends Hulk, but I think if you're interested in mixing and matching, it might be worth having that scale discrepancy just to get a Hulk that looks like this on your shelf rather than the Marvel Legends one, which we'll look at in just a second. First, we have to look at Darwin. He's pretty much standing neutral. There you go. He comes. Darwin, stand neutral. All right, so he comes up just to about to the belly button at nose level, which is probably not the best thing for him, but you can see it's not like it's absurdly large. It is Hulk after all, so I think that's okay. All right, so here we have, I don't have any of mine handy right now. They're in bins in the basement, all my Marvel Legends, all my opened ones. So I have this right here as just a quick size comparison, and also we'll do a price comparison. This guy runs $29.99. Only accessories he has are some hands, which we'll talk about in the accessory section. So this guy does win in accessories, but this thing costs $45 if I remember correctly. And even the base Hulk that uses this body, I believe, was $35. The standard one, the 80-year Hulk. So this thing stands way bigger, has a way better sculpt and paint job, and is cheaper. I'm so tired of people excusing the Marvel Legends price hike for various reasons when other companies are releasing basically the same figures, only better and bigger. Or for instance, we just reviewed Hudson, the gargoyles from NECA, $35. Whereas we have like the Game Reverse Spider-Man coming out for $35. You get my point. So this guy, if you're into mixing and matching, if you want the green Hulk, fine. If you want the red Hulk, fine. It's the same figure essentially. Go for it. You will not be disappointed. But let's go ahead and do the review as we normally would. Aesthetically speaking, I love the sculpt. It's so much more organic looking. He has traps, he has a neck, his head doesn't sit way up in the stratosphere. His muscles look very organic. He's not all boxy. His traps are his lats, I'm sorry. Traps, lats. Yeah, his lats, sometimes I just can't think. His lats are where you get the bulk on the sides down here. Then it comes in for the serratus and ab muscles. The pecs are where they belong. The shoulders are up from the pecs. That's good. His abs and obliques are actually in. Even though he does have obliques, he just doesn't have them sticking out in a weird way the way Marvel Legends do. His arm muscles look very good. However, the way they did this whole section, they definitely went for sculpt. And I think they probably overdid the traps and underdid the shoulders because that also hurts the articulation. But either way, the organic nature of the sculpt is so much better, especially in the neck and traps and chest region. He's got some thickness to his chest. His shoulders are back from his neck. Man, this is such a better sculpt than the Marvel Legends. And like they both had to get sculpted. So it doesn't matter. Like, oh, so this is a bigger figure with slightly less articulation. Sure. But they both had to get sculpted. And they both have essentially the same. Everything other than the butterfly joint from here up is about the same. So there's no excuse for Marvel Legends. Pants are sculpted nicely. There's nothing incredibly crazy going on here, but they look like pants. We have the tattered parts looking nice and tattered. There's a dry brush going on here, a silver button. There's shading all throughout the skin. I see some dark and some light, so that's good. Airbrush work. Very nice. They did paint his toenails. It's not the cleanest paint job ever, but it's okay. Same thing with the fingernails. And then the head paint and sculpt. Love the sculpt. It actually has some character to it. It actually looks like Red Hulk rather than them releasing a Red Hulk with a Green Hulk head. It actually looks really nice. I like the way the teeth are painted. The eyes are done nicely. Mine has this weird chunk missing out of his ear. I know that's not supposed to be that way, so that sucks. And mine also has a weird scuff right here on his lip. So I'm getting a replacement, and his cheek also has a scuff. But either way, the sculpt is really, really nice. So much character in that sculpt. I love it. And then the paint job suits it well too. So proportions are good. Just, it's so nice. I do think the Red Hulk looks way better than the Green Hulk version. The Green Hulk version, his head looks like it's sitting too high, and I don't love the sculpt. But if I can get one, I will, and then we'll have a comparison. But look at that. Proportionally speaking, it looks so much better than like 99% of Marvel Legends, and it's cheaper, so there's no longer any excuse. It's bigger, it's cheaper, it has almost the exact same articulation, almost. So aesthetically speaking, this guy gets a 9.5 out of 10. 9.9 out of 10, screw it. It's really good. For 30 bucks, I love the sculpt work. Alright, now as far as accessories go, not exactly the greatest selection. I think an alternate head would have been nice, but we do have the 2 fist hands and then just 2 open hands. That's it, so 5 out of 10 for accessories. I mean, a grinning head is fine, but maybe like a yelling head or something, you know, that would have been nice. Now, as far as articulation goes, it is limited, even though it has most of the same cuts and things as the Marvel Legends. It doesn't work as well. And it could, and that's why I'm going to fault it. Normally you say, well, it has a really nice sculpt, and that's why the articulation doesn't work. Except all of these joints can work with good sculpts, so I'll show you. Alright, so the head is on probably a double, it could be a single, but it moves around very nicely. It looks down, it looks up, it leans, it rotates and leans. Love, 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 love. For somebody as chunky as that, that is fine. Shoulders, now here's the problem with the shoulders. You can easily make this work. You have to make the shoulder a little bit bigger, or at least rounder. They went for the bean shape where you have the ball in here and then the sculpted shoulder out here, and the sculpted part runs into the plastic. You can't raise the arm any more than that. That's not necessary. You don't have to do that. You can do huge shoulders and make them tuck in properly by not doing the bean shape. So that's a problem. It's okay, I guess, because the sculpt does look good when the arms are down, but it definitely does hinder articulation. You do, of course, get your full rotation that way, so that's fine. Now, like I said before, the tricep is huge, and the shoulder is reasonably big. They could have gotten away with making the shoulder a little bit bigger this way, maybe bring the tricep down just a touch, because right now, the bicep swivel is... I mean, if you really, really force it, you can flex the PVC enough to make it work, but it just... realistically speaking, that can't go anywhere. So triceps or bicep swivel is just not good. It's not good. Then you have your single jointed elbow, no rotation down here like the Marvel Legends one, which would be fine if this worked, but it doesn't, so that kind of blows. But you do get a full 90 out of it, and it's not an ugly joint. Shading could be a little better because it clearly didn't get painted in there, but you do get 90 degrees, and it does have a nice continuity, like the way they did this muscle right here, the way it still tucks in nicely. It's pretty good. I like that. That's nice. Then we do have hands that are appropriately sized for the body, so that's good. You have the swivel and the hinge does work, so that's fine. For the chest, or the diaphragm joint, you would think it would be really good. It's nowhere near as good as it should be. It has so much potential to be really good for no extra cost, but it can't lean farther than that, at least without modification. So it has some leanage, and it can't go back really at all. Side to side, just a little bit, and just a little bit of rotation. So I imagine if you popped it open, you could carve some plastic away, Dremel it out, and then you'd have better range, but it really does have limited range. You do get a waist twist. It's very tight. It likes to stick and not go anywhere, but it is there, so you could probably make it work. That's whatever. Now for the hips, it's a standard ball socket. It's not loose, so that's a good thing, but they also gave us no range for no real reason because the joints is there, and you can get way better range out of it than that. You just have to change the location of the ball and where it connects to the leg. Going back, you have very little range. Going out to the side, it's not bad. It's better than most Marvel Legends, including Spider-Man figures half the time, so that's alright. You do get a thigh swivel, which is a standard swivel, so that's alright. Double jointed knee. They did the thing I hate, which is to only paint the knee. It needs to be red in here too. Because if the pants are torn up here and right here, this has to be all skin tone. It can't be pants. So that looks goofy as hell. I hate that. And the range is decent. It's a little bit better than 90. A little bit loose, by the way. Now for the ankles, they do go back far enough. That's pretty good. But going forward, it's only a little bit. It's probably enough, but it's not all the way. It could go farther if they trimmed a little bit of plastic and reorganized it just a little bit. You do get your ankle rocker, which is solid, so that's fine. So articulation, definitely lacking, definitely could be better, even for what it is. Like, I'm not saying change anything other than make it work better. So it is going to get faulted for that. There are some flaws. I'll say 6 out of 10 for articulation. It should be a lot better, especially this joint right here. And shoulders. Actually, all of it that's wrong should be better, a lot better for what it is. But considering it is sculpted really well and painted really well, I'm definitely willing to overlook some limitations in articulation for those benefits. And at the $30, a couple dollars more than this guy, you can have this guy. So I'm going to give this guy a final rating of, you should definitely get it. If you're interested in a Red Hulk, get the Marvel Select Red Hulk. It's a way better looking figure for your Marvel Legends collection than the Red Hulk that they released. Unless you really hate mixing and matching. But it's pretty solid. So I'm going to give it an overall rating of 8 out of 10. Only because the articulation for no reason is too limited. No good reason. It could be a lot better articulated just if they did it right. You know? Wouldn't have to cost them any more. It wouldn't change the sculpt any. It would just be better. But it is still a darn good figure. One thing I didn't mention, his feet, not his fleet. His feet are ridiculously flat. Not that it really matters, but they're very, very flat. Like, he has no toe meat. Okay, that's all. So there it is. Let me know what you think about the figure in the comment section below. Let me know what you thought about the review by giving it a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you so choose. And if you haven't subscribed, you might want to. I have new videos every day but Wednesday, and I have thousands of videos already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. In the meantime, keep collecting.